There are a lot of great looking armor sets scattered throughout the Star Citizen universe. Some of them you can buy in the in-game shops. Some can be found scattered across Stanton or Pyro in planet-side bunkers and outposts, but some of them require you to flirt with the less savory side of the law and engage in somewhat questionable activities. In today's episode, we'll be doing a little bit of the latter, and I'll be showing you how to get your hands on some of that sweet Crusader security gear. Welcome back to ForgeCore Gaming. I'm your host Phoenix. Now let's get into it. Before we get started, I'd like to take a second and ask that you hit that subscribe button if you like Star Citizen content with a focus on quality. We do not pump out videos for the sake of views, we do it so that you, the player base, has access to some of the best information in the Star Citizen player community. Whether it's ship reviews, patch watch and development updates, how-to tutorials, or general gameplay style videos, we always put our focus into delivering high quality content for you all to enjoy. But without further ado, let's go ahead and get started. Now, none of us, well, most of us, probably don't enjoy breaking the law and risking ending up in Klesher where we get to serve out our sentence while being force-fed dystopian prison propaganda pieces. But worry not, as there are plenty of steps we can take in order to avoid any legal ramifications as we harvest gear off the lifeless bodies of local Crusader government employees. First things first, in order to accomplish what we're about to show you, you're going to need a couple of things purchased ahead of time. First, you're going to need a ship that can carry a bike type vehicle. For the most part, a Mirai Pulse will fit inside just about any ship that has an interior, except ships like the Crusader Intrepid, unless this has changed. Someone drop a comment if you've managed to do it. If you don't have a ship that can fit a bike and you have some credits laying around, the Aegis Avenger Titan can be purchased in game for less than 1.4 million credits over at New Deal in Lorville on Hurston. If you want something a little larger, both the Crusader C1 Spirit as well as the MISC Freelancer both retail for a little over 3 million credits. The Freelancer can be purchased at New Deal in Lorville, while the Crusader C1 Spirit can be purchased over at the Crusader Industries showroom in Orison. Second, you're going to need a bike. Now, I pretty much always recommend the Mirai Pulse as it is currently the most compact bike available. You can pick it up for 185,000 credits at either New Deal in Lorville or an Astro Armada in Area 18. Third, you'll need heavy armor, a big backpack, a weapon, some ammo, some med pens, and a pyro multi-tool with a tractor beam attachment. I generally recommend 8 med pens and a P4 AR, as where we're going there's plenty of P4 ammo to pick up once you take out your enemies. And pro tip, I've noticed the tractor beam attachments like to break lately, so before you leave your hangar, go ahead and give that tractor beam a test by pulling it out with the 5 key and make sure the display panel on the multi-tool attachment reads tractor. Fourth, you're going to need some tiger's claws. I always buy these at Grim Hex and they cost a couple of thousand credits a piece, but they can be purchased in all of these Stanton major cities besides Lorville. Full disclaimer, I'm an over-preparer that prefers redundancies in my loadouts, so I always bring about 10 of these whenever I'm doing things that would make the UEE a little upset. But do what you want, I'm not your dad. Fifth, you're going to want to bring a 1 SEU storage container for storing all of your new loot. You can buy those at any station that has a cargo deck. And once you have all of these items, you're going to want to go ahead and load up whatever bike you purchase into whatever ship you purchase, plus that 1 SCU box. If fitment is an issue, make sure to load the box farthest away from the exit of the ship and the bike closest, as you won't be removing the box from the ship during this little escapade, but you will be pulling out that bike. Alright, now we can get started. Next thing you're going to want to do is quantum travel over to the communications array that's orbiting the moon Cellin near the planet Crusader. For those of you that are new to the game, the communication arrays, or comm arrays, are what monitor UEE controlled space for illegal activities. You can deactivate a comm array for a given area, thus enabling illegal activities to incur no penalty from the law. What Mama don't know simply will not hurt her. Keep in mind, when you do this, a contract will appear on other players' contract tabs, notifying them that the comm array has been taken down and that they should go turn it back on. So there is an inherent risk of 2 dangers while doing this. You can run into other players trying to sabotage your mission, thus forcing a PvP scenario, as well as other players can turn the comm arrays back on while you're engaging in illegal activities, at which point you'll receive a crime stat. With that said, in the next step, we'll be going to an area where you can clear your crime stat using one of those tiger's claws, which is another reason why I recommend bringing several. But okay, back to the task. Now that you're at the sell-in comm array, you can't get too close with your ship. If you get within about 15 kilometers, the comm array station and surrounding defensive drones will begin firing on you, both big missiles and big lasers. As far as I know, countermeasures don't work on these missiles, so you'll have to outrun or outmaneuver them if they target you. Correct me in the comments if I'm wrong, but it's best to just avoid triggering the missiles altogether. I like to park about 20 kilometers out just to be safe. From here, you'll want to unload your bike. Generally, I recommend tractor beaming your bike off the back of your ship, as these have a chance to glitch upon startup, and they may or may not just ram you neck first into a wall or ceiling if you do so while still in your ship. After you're on your bike, start heading towards the comm array. Once you arrive, you're going to want to go ahead and search for a small square opening. Now technically yes, you can bring your bike inside this little entrance, and realistically it is advised to do so. If you leave your bike outside, then a player who is coming to turn the comm array back on may either A, destroy your bike, or B, take it as a sign that someone is still in there and sit and wait to ambush you on your way out. With that in mind, it can be kind of tricky to navigate your bike inside the comm array, so just do what you want here and weigh the risk. Once you get inside, however, you'll want to EVA down to the terminal computer and insert your tiger's claw. Once you do, you'll begin the process of taking the comm array offline. You cannot leave at this point. You have to sit around and wait for the progress bar to fill, as it will periodically pause and you'll have to push another button to resume the process. Once you've successfully taken down the comm array, however, you can hop back on your bike and head for your ship. When you've arrived at your ship, set course for Security Outpost Korea. Once you arrive, bear in mind, same rules apply as the comm arrays. Do not get within 15 kilometers of the security outpost. Again, I prefer to keep a safe distance at approximately 20 kilometers. Once again, you're going to go ahead and unload your bike and head towards the station. Now there are a couple entrances which are generally synonymous and can be easily spotted if you look for small landing pads. You can park your bike on one of those landing pads and head into one of these secure airlocks. Once inside, you're going to find exactly what we came for: enemies wearing Crusader security gear. Now, there are 5 classes of enemies inside. Civilians, which pose no threat, but I take out anyways because, well, reasons. Light armor enemies, medium armor enemies, heavy armor enemies, and elites. Light, medium, and heavy armor enemies seem to spawn at roughly the same frequencies, though elites seem to spawn at very long intervals, and only one at a time. Additionally, each time they spawn, I found the elite enemy right here, in this location, on deck 1 or the main floor, near the computer terminals. The elite unit is what gives this set of armor, and can be confused with the player, as elites, unlike other NPCs, carry backpacks. They also have the most custom, quote-unquote, armor of anyone else in the area, so this was highly sought after in the group of friends that came along. Now, when it comes to harvesting or collecting the armor, if you have a large backpack, you can fit most, if not all, of a single set of gear inside your backpack, minus the undersuit, but we're not here for undersuits. This is the fastest way to take everything if you're in a rush to go. Otherwise, if you don't care about losing the stuff you're already wearing, you can tractor beam the NPC whose armor you want over to a corner that's outside the line of sight of spawning NPCs. This is where I like to go. And you can change into the armor set right then and there. If you opt for the route of putting the armor in your backpack, and you want more than one set of armor, you can ferry backpack loads back and forth to your ship and load them into that one SCU box. Now technically, you could EVA that box all the way to the station, but 20 kilometers is a very long way to go at EVA speeds, and I, frankly, just couldn't be bothered. Another pro tip. Remember how I said another player could turn the comm arrays back on and crime would once again be illegal and detectable by the UEE? Well, if that happens and you get a crime stat, you can clear that crime stat by visiting the main terminal pictured here. insert a tiger's claw, and go through the process that's very reminiscent of shutting down the comm array. Once you do that, your crime is cleared from the UEE database. The only kicker is, once you do this, you have to leave, and you have to do so without killing anyone. Otherwise, you'll get that crime stat again. So clear the area of hostile NPCs, clear your crime stat at the main terminal, and get out of Dodge before anyone else spawns. Right, in a nutshell, that's pretty much it. That's how you get the Crusader security gear. Come back as often as you want, or hold on to it until gear reclaiming comes into the game and use it to your heart's content without risk of losing it. But wait, what if you want like a bunch of this gear? You want a big variety, and you don't want to take 50 trips back to your ship with a backpack full of stuff. And you don't want to EVA 20 kilometers with a box in tow. Well, lucky for you, you can do that. With just a little bit of help from some other players, and a big meaty ship like a Polaris. In fact, what I'm about to show you will pretty much only work with Polaris. And here's a 30,000 foot view of what I did. You'll need two Polaris. Polaris 1 is a bullet sponge, and the second is a box/bike transport vehicle. Bikes are completely optional and only required if the flight crew wants to join the other team members in clearing out the station. You'll also need 1 to 3 crew members in addition to the pilots. So in total, 3 to 5 people gets this job done. Finally, you'll need 1 box for every additional crew member. Everyone will need a full loadout as outlined in the first method. For reference, we're going to call Polaris 1 the bullet sponge, and the Polaris 2 is going to be the transport Polaris. Polaris 1 will begin by approaching Security Outpost Korea. Polaris 2 will follow closely behind, giving about 500 meters to a kilometer of space. Polaris 1's job will be to aggro all station defenses while Polaris 2 pulls in and unloads boxes and other crew members. Polaris 1 should continue to circle the station until Polaris 2 is fully unloaded. Once Polaris 2 is unloaded, both Polaris may vacate the vicinity and move out to a safe distance. At this point, the bikes may also be unloaded by the Polaris captains so that they may join and aid the other crew members in clearing out enemy NPCs and loading up boxes. Keep in mind, the doors at the security outposts are only large enough to allow a 1 or 2 SCU box inside. Anything larger than that will have to be held outside. This is perfectly doable, just know that moving bodies outside of the station requires that you cycle the airlock. So in order to expedite the process, 2 people should really be working the door on either side of the airlock, all while the other team members clear NPCs and move bodies to the door where the box loaders are working. Pickup and retrieval of the boxes is a little bit more difficult than the drop-off. Here's why. It's really easy to toss a box out a door and into empty space. It is a little bit harder to move a Polaris perfectly into position so that the other players can load boxes back onto it. Even still, the pickup is mostly just a repeat of the box drop-off. It will take longer to pick up the boxes though, so expect to take some hull damage as your shields will most likely be depleted by the time you're done. Workshopping this, you could probably get the pickup phase done a lot faster if you dropped off an Atlas during the box drop-off. And you could have a crew member standing in the cargo bay with an Atlas to receive the boxes during pickup. Reason being is the Atlas has much longer range than the handheld tractor beams, and it moves boxes much faster. And there you have it. Do this until you have several boxes of the Crusader security gear, and take it back to your home hangar for you to use as you please. If you've made it this far, drop a comment and let me know what armor sets you're interested in getting. Especially now that they're working to implement an armor reclaim system where there is no risk of losing your armor. Also, feel free to join my Discord if you need a group to play with. We plan for Fridays as our big multi-crew nights, so if you're interested in hanging out with us, now is a great time to join. Also, if you enjoyed the video, I ask that you leave a like and subscribe as a free way to support the channel. I'll be putting out a new ship review this week featuring the Nomad from Consolidated Outland, and I'll be getting back to 2 videos a week starting this week as well. As always, thank you all very much for watching, and I'll see you in the verse.